NOLA is my favorite place
Why is still NOLA your favorite place?
because I get to do activities.
Hey everyone, welcome to NOLA STEM Lab. My name is Lamaya Hall and I'm the 3rd through 12th coordinator. Today we are going to do an at-home experiment called PlayDough. It's a very fun experiment to do at home with your family, and all you need is a few household items. Before we begin our experiments today, we need to discuss a few vocabulary words. We have 4 vocabulary words today. Our first vocabulary word is matter. Matter is anything that takes up space. So today we are going to look at the changes in the different states of matter. For example, from gas to liquid to solid. So first we are going to use hot water, and we're going to pour a little more hot water in our flasks. The water has to be warm so that it can break down the dry ice. So we're going to use dry ice. Dry ice is compressed carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is what we breathe out. So today what we are going to do is take a small piece of carbon dioxide, which is a solid, and we are going to change it into a gas. So it's actually going to skip the liquid phase. This is called sublimation. So as you can see, the solid piece of carbon dioxide caused it to turn into a gas, which is the white that's releasing, and you had to put it inside of liquid, which was water. Let's see it one more time. Dry ice is actually very cold, which is why you did not see me touching it with my hands, because it can actually burn your hands. So I use tongs in order to pull it out and put it into the Erlenmeyer flask. So that is matter. Matter is the change, well, anything that takes up space, and we just saw changes in the state of matter. Another vocab word for today is chemistry. Chemistry is the study of the properties of matter and the interactions matter has with energy. So what we just did was basically chemistry, because the matter changed states. So the liquid, it changed from solid straight to gas, and the liquid still stayed the same, so it didn't really go through a change in its state. So another vocab word today is monomer. Monomer is a single molecule that can be bonded to its same molecule to make a polymer. So what is a polymer? A polymer is a chain link of molecules, which are monomers. For example, we have a paper clip, a single paper clip. That's an example of our monomer. However, when we begin to link multiple paper clips together and make a chain of paper clips, this becomes a polymer. So chemicals can literally do this same thing, link together and make polymers. Some examples of some polymers are plastic. This graduated cylinder right here is a plastic graduated cylinder, and it is actually made up of polymers that have been melted and molded together to make this cylinder. Before we begin our experiments today, we are going to address a few questions. There are 3 questions that you should be able to answer by the end of your experiments. First question is, what are the states of matter for each material? Second question, what are the monomers in the experiments? Third question, what are the polymers in the experiments? We'll show these questions again at the end of this video so that you will be able to answer them. So today's at-home experiment, we are going to make Play-Dough. It only contains a few ingredients from your kitchen. You need some flour, some oil, it can be canola oil or vegetable oil, some food coloring just for color. You'll need things like measuring spoons, measuring cups, warm water, and bowls, and a plate, and or like a cutting board, or if you can use your counter just for the end where you have to knead the Play-Dough so that it's not sticky anymore. So Today we are going to use math in our experiment. Instead of doing it with one big bowl with all materials, we're going to divide it into 4 different bowls so we can get 4 different colors of Play-Doh. So today our first step is to add one cup of water. However, we're dividing it into 4 bowls, therefore we need 1/4 of a cup of water per bowl. All right, so step 2, we are going to add our food coloring just for color, to make, some different color Play-Doh. Add 3 to 4 drops of each color. If you want a pink instead of red, you add a little less red. You may add just like 2 drops of red, but if you want red, you may have to add 5 to 10 drops. Also with yellow, if you want orange, you can mix the red and the yellow together to get you an orange. And if you want purple, you can mix blue and green together to get purple. All right. So after this, we are going to stir. And so that we don't mix colors, we're going to use a different spoon for every color so that our colors do not mix. All right, so now it's time to add our oil. We are going to add 2 tablespoons of oil. However, since we're going to split into 4 different bowls, we're going to add 1/2 of a tablespoon per every bowl. Just don't be messy like me and get it everywhere. So now you mix your oil in with your water. It's not gonna mix all the way because oil and water do not mix. It will separate a little later. So next we need to make our flour mix. Okay. So we are going to add 4 cups of flour and then 1.5 cups of salt. And make sure you add it into a separate bowl because then you will, after this, you will go and even it out into each of your 4 bowls. All right. So next we're gonna add our 1.5 cups of salt. And the reason why we're adding so much salt is because we are not using the cream of tartar, which some Play-Doh experiments call for. But salt works just fine in case if you can't find the cream of tartar. So that's 1 cup, and then we have to add 1/2 of a cup as well. So next we are going to stir all of this together. Mix your salt with your flour, stir it together. Then you're gonna take this mixture here and divide it into 4 different cups and place them into your 4 bowls. So make sure it's mixed really well. Not the salt. You can put your hands in it if you need to, just to make sure the salt's all mixed in with your flour. And this is a great experiment, to add the math into there so that It you know, calls for fractions, division. So to engage your kids around math when also performing a chemistry experiment, because math and chemistry definitely go hand in hand. All right. Now that everything is mixed together, we're going to scoop out 1 cup of our flour and salt mixture, and you kind of like to level it out and pour it into our cup with our oil and water and food coloring, and then mix it together. As you can see, it's already starting to get thick and somewhat look like Play-Doh. Parents, this may remind you of making dough to cook with, but you know, it's great for your children to play with as well. And you stir it until it's smooth. You can put your hands in there to smooth it out a little better, and you can use a plate or a cutting board or something like that to help. So if you use a plate, I would just sprinkle a little flour at the bottom so it doesn't stick. Spread some flour on your cutting board or paper or countertop, whatever you have, and pour it on there, and then knead it into a Play-Doh ball. And you knead it and knead it and knead it until it's no longer sticky, and it makes a nice ball shape. Make sure you have a lot of space to do this, because it can get a little messy. However, once you get it all kneaded and pretty, you have your Play-Doh ball. This ball can be reused and stored, you know, until it dries out. But the way to store it is, once your child gets done playing with it, just put it in a Ziploc bag. You use like a sandwich size Ziploc bag, and all you have to do, just drop it in there and save it for later. Another tip for when you're making your Play-Doh, if it's still a little sticky, just add a little more flour. That'll take the stickiness away, and so that you'll be able to rub it around in your hands and play with it without it sticking to you. So, like I stated in the beginning of the video, we will come back to the questions of the day. The first question was, what are the states of matter for each material? The second question, what are the monomers in the experiment? And the third question, what are the polymers in the experiment? Take a second here and pause the video. If your parents are with you, Parents, discuss these questions with your child and see if you can get the correct answers. All right, so the answers for question 1, what are the states of matter for each material? Most of our materials we use today were solids. We do have a few liquids, which was the vegetable oil and water. There were no gases used in today's experiments other than the gas that we showed at the very beginning with the dry ice, when the ice went from the solid carbon dioxide to the gas state of the carbon dioxide, and it looked like it was smoking over the Erlenmeyer flask. So the answers to the second question, what are the monomers for the experiments? So we're going to consider each ingredient a monomer because those are the ingredients necessary to make the long polymers. So in our first experiment, our monomers were the flour, the salt, we had water, we had food coloring just for color, but it doesn't really do much. So those were the monomers for today. And the last question, what are the polymers in the experiment? And the second polymer is PlayDough. So PlayDough is a combination of different molecules that are put together to actually make the PlayDough. So that's what makes it a polymer, because it's made out of a bunch of monomers. Thank you all for watching today. If you want to learn more about STEM NOLA and the activities that we do, please visit us at www.stemnola.com. Thank you again.